Welcome back to this week's YouTube Live and the podcast. My name is RD. We got Mr. Jason up in the waterfowl den. So, sir, welcome to the waterfowl den.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right. So, Jason is with Top Down Decoys. This is something I saw at the expo, and I personally have never seen anything like this. It is definitely something different that's in the decoy spread. So tonight we're definitely going to be talking about that. We're going to be, finding out some background history, where it all came from. So let's get to it. So who is Top Down Decoys?
Well, we're a small family business based out of Illinois. And when we come up with this, we were doing the full body game like everyone else does, and decided, you know what, after chasing kids and everything else out there, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to switch over to the silhouette side of things. And when I did, I noticed the birds weren't finishing the way that they used to with the full bodies, which, they're still tried and true, full body guys out there, that kind of thing. And in talking with, it's a family business, with talking to my dad, I'm like, I got to come out with a way to make some horizontal decoys that look like a full body from the sky and make them as economical and easy to use like a silhouette. And started messing around with some ideas, and we come out with the horizontal design. And then when we were doing that, we said, there's a whole nother side of the decoy that nobody's using. So we're like, well, heck, let's put another decoy at a different season that now you can use, the Canada goose on one side, it flips over to a snow goose on the other. All it is you got a wire that goes into them, so you got snow goose on one side, you flip it over, you got a Canada goose on the other side, you have the wire, it's just pushed in the beak like any other corrugated plastic, just slide it in there, and literally you're bending it over, and you have your snow goose on one side, and then if you want to do the Canada goose, you're literally just flipping it over to the other side. Then we had guys along the way, they'd ask us, how many times can you bend that thing? Well, you're not ever bending a right angle in it, so that wire's never getting hot enough per se to actually get that kind of stress crack in it or anything. So we've actually to this day never had one break. And
really?
At all the shows that we...
That was one of my questions on there. How many times could it bend? So you already answered.
Yeah, we actually have that at our shows that we go to. It's a very, very common question. We have one that literally we were marking off every 100 bends. It was actually at our Little Rock, Arkansas show, I think is when it was, back in 23 or 24. A guy told us, well, it's going to break right away. And being a small family business, we're like, it's not going to break. It's just a wire. It's, a thick, low carbon steel. We don't use spring steel. It's low carbon steel, so it's bendable. And my dad sat there and he'd bend it 100 times and he'd write down 100, and then he'd bend it another 100 and he'd write it down, and it's got 1,000 written on it and crossed out. And still to this day, we're still at all the shows that goes with us. And, you're talking to people, you're bending it back and forth. Still, we stopped keeping track at 1,000, but literally if you bend it, let's just say twice a year, that's 500 lifetimes in that. So it's not going to break. You'll be more apt to drop a big honker or something on it in sub-zero temperatures and crack the plastic before you're going to break a wire. It's not going to break.
So how long y'all been around?
We started the ideas in like 2019 or so. We weren't in any of the social media stuff at that time, so it's kind of a learning curve there. We've started doing a little more social media wise, but when we started, you had to get a patent. So then we had to sit there and wait for all the patent stuff to go. And then, once we got patented, now we've been selling decoys. We're in Belgium, Scotland, Netherlands, Czech Republic, Canada, and here. And we've sold decoys to those countries, and it's one of those things that every time a new country comes up, it surprises you that the power of social media, it gets you out there, that kind of stuff.
Right. So, like I told you earlier, this was a live, so people's coming and going. I see Jay's joined in the comments there. He said, "Hey, so show them the decoys again, because we're gonna have to keep showing this,
Oh,
throughout."
you're right.
So you're telling me that all these
So
other countries got
yep.
snow geese too?
Well, a lot of them have. So for I don't know what you said his name is. I can't see the comments, but it's a reversible decoy, so it's visible from the top down, and that's where the name come from. But they have the ones overseas. They have gray legs or something like that, and it looks like a speckle belly goose. It just doesn't have the bar bellies on it. So it's the same look of the bird. So they use primarily the spec decoy over there, but there are areas that have, and I don't know if it's the Canada goose or if it just looks a lot like that. I don't have a clue. All I do is ship them decoys,
Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's pretty cool. That would be, you need to find one of them to say, "Hey, take me hunting over there." That'd be cool.
Well, and I actually have one of our very first international guys over there. He's at sack shooting or sack sporting or something like that. He's a good guy that I've been keeping up with him for years and years, and he's over there trying to get us to go over to Scotland and hunt and all that kind of stuff. And I have a 14-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old boy, and they're in every sport known to man. So you think a guy that owns a hunting decoy company is literally hunting nonstop, but it's not. I'm chasing kids just like everybody else that's listening to us, and I'm actually have a full-time job apart from the decoy business, that kind of stuff. So it's one of those things that it's truly a small family business. I mean, we all have our other side hustles and that kind of stuff.
Right. And when I saw you at your show, I saw your father there, and I mean, he
Yep.
looked like he was into it just as much as you were.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I
So,
mean, it was us. We're in an area here that um, if you're not hunting, you're fishing, and if you're not fishing, you're hunting type of area. So it's, whether it's deer or turkey or ducks, geese, whatever. I mean, a lot of these shows I go to, and it always surprises me when I ask them, "Hey, do you goose hunt?" And they're like, "No, I only deer hunt, or I only predator hunt, or whatever." And it's like, I don't know, I hunt everything. So to me, that's almost foreign language because it's not what I do. I hunt everything.
so you told me earlier it was snowing. So right now you hunting snow, right?
Yeah. We have deer season, shotgun season coming up this weekend. So it got cold, and that's one of our biggest things here is we have they've been talking about doing a different split season for us. Well, whether you call it global warming or whatever you call it, some years we have snow and everything's froze up like it is now. There's no open water. I mean, the Mississippi River's open, so you have geese sitting out there, but we have, probably 10 inches plus of snow on the ground. Well, the geese can sit in the Mississippi, but if there's nowhere to eat, they're going south. So a split season right now, if we had it, it's just going to push it farther out, and the birds are already gone. I mean, you'll find pockets that are on the heated ponds and that kind of stuff around us, but if you're not going
start?
we have an early from September 1st to the 15th, and then it's like the third week of October, something like that is when it starts. So it's
y'all had a good
over
season so
halfway
far?
over. What's that?
Y'all had a good season so far?
Man, I've only hunted one time. Shot 2 mergansers, all I shot this year so far.
Man, I
I
know
shot
how
a
you
deer,
feel.
I mean,
Hey,
it's one of those things.
man, we were sitting in the blind the other day. Now I can promise you, probably nobody has came up to you at a show and say, "Hey, I'm from South Carolina, the world famous duck hunting state." There's probably nobody ever said that to you.
Right?
Because we don't have birds. We have geese. We don't have a whole lot of birds. But
Let's
man,
say
we
you
were
found a few. There's a bunch on the wall behind you.
these are all transfer states. That one,
Oh,
the swans from North Carolina, the specklebellies from Texas, they're Reelfoot Lake, they're everywhere.
right.
But man, we were sitting in the blind the other day, and I said, I sure would like to see a hooded merganser.
See
That
those? Well, I mean, we shoot them all the time.
do you cook them up,
Oh yeah, we eat everything we shoot.
put them in a stew or something?
A lot of times just on the smoker.
Mm.
Throw them on there. Throw some barbecue on it. Tastes like everything else.
Yeah, we got. If you drive 3 hours to the coast, we do have the red-breasted mergansers too. It's
Mm-hmm.
a big old long dark. So I'm gonna pull up
Yep.
the website. I'm gonna pull it up on the screen too, so we can talk about it.
Sure.
So, well, I lost you there. I ain't lost you. I know you there. Your picture just ain't there. There you go. So,
That's probably not a bad thing.
I mean, I always tell people I'm the smartest one in the room because there ain't nobody else in the room. So I mean, you can say
Right.
you can say you the best looking one in the room.
That's right.
So topdowndecoys.com is the website. So
Yep.
what's on the website store wise? What are y'all offering?
We have there's the horizontals that you got on there. We have 5 and 10 dozen packs on sale right now
Mm-hmm.
for the holidays here. They're marked down. You got to try to keep up with your competitors, that type of stuff. So gets a little tight sometimes because we are 100% made in the USA business. So all of our plastic, our wires, everything's done right here. I've had
So
guys.
hundred percent.
You always what's that?
100% printed and everything. That's pretty cool.
Everything. Yeah, we've had guys, give us a hard time along the way, which you always got those guys, but they're like, "Oh, I bet they're using a foreign part on a die or something." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, okay, I get it." But yeah, uh we're a union family background, so it was important to us when we started this that if we can't be competitive and make it in the United States, then there ain't no business doing it. So that's what we decided to do.
So
But
there's two versions of the top down, right? There's the Canada and snow, and then the speck in the snow, right?
yeah, and there might be, I don't know if I have it live right now. We ran out of stock for a minute, so I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure what's on there as far as I got a Canada speckle belly also, but I'm not sure if it's actually live on the website right now. It's down to like 10 or 15 dozen after the last show we just did, so I'm not sure if I have it on there or not, but it is another option with the Canada spec. But and the weird thing is it's hard to see it in a picture on what they actually do. There's a field setup on there somewhere that's a video on the main
Right.
page that
Yep.
kind of scrolls between the that one there. It
Um.
illustrates, you got your that side there's the full bodies. In the front, you have your silhouettes. That side over there is the wind socks, and then the horizontals are down the middle there. Just kind of illustrating that when those decoys disappear, that if you're using silhouettes,
Right,
this is our alternative.
and it shows it right there in that video. Let me pause it. That's what a lot of people don't talk about with the flat silhouettes of being on top. It does mix in pretty good when you use large, full bodies, but you can tell from the videos. And I know seeing them at the show and pictures, and y'all got pictures in the booths and stuff like that of what it looks like from a bird's view.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of how we look at it. I mean, I've never had a goose come walking into the spread. They're always coming in from above, and there's marketing out there, and there's guys out there that say, well, when the decoys disappear, the birds think they're moving, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, well, one, I don't know what a bird's thinking, and two, if you can convince somebody that when their product disappears, it's a good thing, that's brilliant marketing, really, because if a silhouette decoy disappears, it's just gone. And then if it comes back, okay, fine, but all these shows I go to, and I talk to so many hunters that say the birds don't finish with the silhouettes all the time. And it's like, well, if the wind's a higher wind speed and those birds are setting up more on top of you instead of coming in low or whatever, if the decoys are disappearing and they're flaring off, you can't keep doing the same thing over and over. You got to try something different. And that's kind of the premise behind the company is we were trying to do something different that made sense to us.
Yeah, definitely. It's something different. I do like the fact and I know it's on this video coming up here. Let's see, where is it? Like, you can see where their neck's going down. So, it makes it look like they're still feeding also.
Correct. Yep. Yeah. And then we, after going to so many shows and everybody telling me how well our decoys are going to mix in with all the competitor stuff, that's when, because our bread and butter is the Canada snow goose. That's the one that we sell night and day, more of those than any other decoy we have. But that's the difference. That's the game changer decoy. Well, when we did the verticals, the normal standard silhouette, everybody was telling me how well ours was going to mix with everybody else's. And it's like, well, we're already in the printing business now and we're already making decoys. We might as well come out with our own vertical silhouettes, which is then why we did that, because it's like, well, it is what it is. We might as well have our own kind and then go from there.
So there's three top downs, and then how many verticals?
Right now we have Canada spec snow verticals. I got a few guys out there that run primarily just our decoys, and they're hollering at me to get on the stick to get duck decoys going. We're going to come out with duck decoys, but being a family business, we always try to watch the pocketbook and make sure we don't get so much inventory that you're making a payment on stuff. You don't want to pay it all the interest, that kind of stuff, sitting and looking at inventory. So we're trying to ease into it and make sure that everything's going the way it needs to each step of the way here. So
Jay commented, said they're pretty cool. That's great idea with realistic.
Thanks, buddy.
So how many snows? Like last year, somebody shot a snow in South Carolina, and that joker was lost. But they're moving closer each year. I know Tennessee Reelfoot, we see a lot of snows. They're coming this way, and I hear stories of people setting up decoys for snows like 12 dozen at a time and 13, 14 dozen snows. That's mind blowing.
Oh, that's not even hardly getting in the game here.
We have setting up.
It all depends. You're probably, if you're not wanting to work at it and you can find the field, you don't have to worry about as many. But if you're running traffic and you're not putting out 2,000 plus decoys, you're not pulling anything off traffic. And there's actually guides around us a little farther south of us that they're putting out 13,000 decoys in a field.
That's crazy.
So they go out and put in all their motion stakes and whatnot before the freeze. So as soon as the farmer gets his field out, they go out and set, because it's a permanent spread, and they set all their stakes out there. That way, like right now, you couldn't drive a stake in the ground if you wanted to. So they've already got all their stakes set. And then here, conservation comes in down there. I think it's January 15th when that season comes in down there. And then up in the North Zone where we're at, it's the 31st. But so they'll go out and set decoys, a week before or whatever. That way it's a new looking feed or whatever, and go that route,
Y'all get to use electronic calling in y'all state?
Only for that conservation season.
Only during that week.
Yep. Well, it's actually, I want to say that conservation season's, I don't know, I'm guessing, but I think it's like 45 days or something like that.
Really?
And that's no plug, extended mags, no limit, e-collars, all that stuff.
It's crazy per state. North Carolina has Conservation Week. I know Texas has it, and they're constantly talking about doing away with them. I mean, it's very crazy on how each state handles the birds. But you know the snows eat a massive amount of food.
Oh, absolutely.
People don't.
And
People
when the
don't.
flocks come in and roost on a lake or whatever, if they're there a couple days, I mean, you can only imagine what all they put in that lake in a couple days and all that stuff. And yeah, when they're there, I mean, it's if you've never seen a like 20,000 snow goose feed going, I mean, it's mind boggling how many birds come in.
I've been out there when the snows come, but not like what you're talking about, like what people talk about, the tornado where they're just
Oh, yeah.
constantly coming down. I haven't seen that personally. But I've seen the videos and how loud it is.
Yeah, they're crazy. I mean, and they're super aggressive. So it's one of those things that they're all trying to get the next best part to feed and all that kind of stuff.
You think they numbers wise they're going to be taking over the Canada geese?
Oh, I would say. I mean, I don't know about around us, but around us when they're here, it's not even comparable. There's snow geese are so thick when
Really?
they come through.
I know a lot of places talk about the specklebellies, are pushing the Canadian geese off too.
They do. They're also that type of bird. They're very they act very similar to the snow geese, and a lot of times they're flying with them. So that's what makes it when the snow geese and specks are flying together. Um, Now everybody does things different, but the way we do it, we just say don't shoot in that flock if they're in big numbers, because sure enough, if you shoot at a snow goose because you got your spec limit, you're going to end up dropping something that you didn't want. So if you're close on your limits or whatever, we just let them go, and they salt and pepper in there so bad that you can't risk dumping a spec if you already got your limit on them, because the limit on those is low. But then obviously during conservation season you can't shoot a spec anyway. So if they're flying up with the snows at conservation season, you got to let that flock go too, because obviously you can't shoot a spec during conservation.
So do y'all have y'all's own farm there too?
We not that we hunt geese on, but we do have a farm here. Yeah.
I got you. I know I was reading it in the bio where it was talking about like y'all were out there during your farming and would see them and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
We get Canada geese on our farm. Um, and actually, when we come up with this, we were actually working on the farm and had snow geese come through, and usually the snow geese were always way up high, and um, excuse me, they were down low, and that's kind of when everything started coming together. Most of our snow geese that comes through right where we're located, you hear them flying at night. We do get some during the day, but I would say the large majority are flying over us at night when they're migrating.
I want to get on them one day like that. That's why I was telling my friends. I'm like, one day, I I got half the geese checked off my list. I hope come January I'm going to New Jersey to hunt a brant. So that's going to be hopefully one more goose species checked off. But the
Right.
Ross and the blue, that's on the list for sure.
What you hunt snows for any length of time, you're shooting a Ross in the snow. I mean, they're right there mixed in with them, or a blue, I meant.
Yeah. So they are two different species, but they hang out together pretty good because, like I said, we don't see them in South
Oh,
Carolina.
yeah. If you pull up any sort of feed picture online and you zoom in, I mean, you can tell a Ross, he's got a little stubby beak on him, so he looks just like it. But yeah, they mixed right in.
I didn't know they were aggressive like that though.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
they're constantly jumping to the next. They're rolling across the field a lot of times, getting to the next best part type of thing.
almost like seagulls fighting
Yeah,
over
I would
food.
say. Yeah.
I was down there hunting last week, and two seagulls were flying around. One went into the water, came up with a fish, and then the other seagull hit that seagull mid-air, and it dropped the fish, and then they both couldn't find the fish. And I'm like, look, now both of you's hungry.
Right.
I got a pretty good chuckle out of it because I obviously I was in the blind and they didn't see me, but I was like, see, that's what you get for being greedy. Now both of you's hungry.
That's right.
So I'm gonna pull the website back up and talk about the horizontals too. So here's the horizontals. You can get it in a dozen, the 5 dozen. So does the stick, the rod, whatever you want to call it, the metal piece, does it stay in there, or are you taking it in and out, or is it once you put it in there, it's good to go?
Now we leave it in all of our stakes, whether it's the verticals or the horizontals. We use a thicker rod, so our decoys, they don't fall off the stakes. Whereas, some of our competitors, you got to use I actually just posted a video today on a couple of the other platforms there that talking about it. Because so many people ask me, well, what bags do you use? What bags,
That's what I was fixing to ask. How you get that in a bag?
Well, we look at it a little different than a lot of people, which, it is what it is. And I've learned that looking around the country, everybody does things different. So it's one of those things. I get it. We personally don't like the wrestling silhouettes, putting them in a bag, getting a bag full of mud. Around here, we're hunting, when it's colder temperatures. So you got zippers freezing up and getting mud in them. You got buckles breaking. You get the mice in them if you're storing them in a shed or anything like that. And I've hated bags. We don't enjoy them. It's just not our thing. So what we do, we buy carabiners, the carabiners that are, just so big or whatever. And you can put 3-4 dozen on a carabiner. So now your kids that are with you, they can carry a stack of decoys, that kind of thing. You're not just making piles and throwing them in the mud, waiting to put them in the bag, and everybody's cold, it's raining, whatever. I'm sure somebody out there will say they absolutely love bags, but it wasn't our thing. So we do carabiners. You can hang them up on the sidewalls of your trailers, that kind of stuff. And then we actually buy that plastic wrap that's got the handle on it, and then it's maybe 3-4 inches big, and so the horizontals, you just leave them bent when you pick them up, and you grab yourself a stack, you run that wrap around it, and now it's like carrying one decoy, but it could be 5-6 dozen, because they only weigh 3 pounds a dozen, so we make blocks out of those when you're doing it, and we leave that wrap in our shell bags. And then when you pick up, you excuse me, you just take that wrap and then wrap that whole bundle up, and they don't fall out of your sleds and that kind of stuff when you had everything all wrapped up like that. And so we're just opposed to bags. It's just not our thing. But the horizontals, you can put 15 dozen in a 6-slot decoy bag, and that's only 45 pounds or so. So, it's like carrying a bag of dog food. If you're a bag guy, you just put 15 dozen in there, and actually with 15 dozen, it fits in the outside 4 slots. So your center 2 slots, you can still put your LP tanks or, whatever in there and go that route too. But we have done it that way. It's just, we store ours in a barn because we don't want all that stuff up in the garages and that kind of stuff. So anything you store in a barn is going to have mice and everything else in it. So we just personally don't buy $100 bag and use carabiner clips and plastic wrap.
That makes sense. Jay said he's going. I know Jay personally. He's down in Georgia, and he's rented out a blind in Arkansas. He said he needs to get some of them specs down there to go into Arkansas. And Mike Green joined in. What's up, Mike? So for the people that's joined, show the decoy again and how it bends.
Yep, it's just piece of plastic there, like, any other silhouette. It's got, I don't know where it's into my phone. The camera's on here. It's on that end. No.
Yep, there you go.
Anyway, it's got the flutes in there, whatever. You take the wire, it's a 2-foot wire. You slide the wire in the beak of the decoy, and then it's got a snow goose on one side, and then it's got the Canada goose there on the other side. And you're just taking that decoy and you're bending it in an arch. So now your decoy is going to sit out there, and they get a nice movement in the wind. They get a nice bounce to them. They don't go crazy like a windsock or whatever, but they get nice movement out there. And if you cut corn or anything like that, when the ground gets frozen, being horizontal, you can just slide that joker right into a cut corn stalk, and you don't have to drill the ground. And then when you want to go from snow goose to Canada goose, you just take it, you flip it over, and then you got the Canada goose on the other side. So
that's one thing that really I liked about it, because if you were in a field and you were set up for, let's just say, snows, and the snows bypass you, and now there's Canadian geese everywhere, you literally could go out there and just flip them all over without having to pull decoys up. Like, literally,
absolutely.
Just flip it from one side to the other, flip, and go through your decoys and completely change your setup in no time.
Yeah, we actually in Indianapolis, we were at the Indianapolis show, and the one year we had this guy come through, and he liked the Canada side, and he said, well, we don't have snow geese. Mm-hmm. And he said, we see them every once in a while. He never shot one, whatever. And he says, I'm going to get them. I'm going to use them for Canadas. And I go, well, just think of it this way. You're getting a free snow goose decoy with every Canada goose one you buy.
Well, that is
you may
true.
never use it.
That is true.
He went out and he got set up, and he was one of those guys. Hopefully he watches. I don't know his name, but he was a memorable person. He had the personality, that kind of stuff. You just weren't going to forget this guy. And the next year he come to the show, and I recognized him instantly. And I'd only met him the one time at the show, but I recognized the guy, and he had a great big smile on his face. And he pulls up his phone with pictures, and he showed me his snow geese that he shot. And he said he heard them coming. It was kind of foggy out or something, he said. And he flipped them over to snow geese because he could hear them out there, had them flipped over. And he goes, I was the only guy for miles and miles that had snow geese out because they were on the other side of his decoys. And he said when he flipped them over, those birds, as soon as they saw them, they locked up, come right in. And that's one of those stories that, I won't forget until our company's closed, just because that's kind of the mindset of them, is you literally always have snow goose decoys with you, whether you're after them or not in that day. And most waterfowl hunters, if they have a bird that they're allowed to shoot and it comes in, they're going to shoot the thing. They're not like, well, it's snow geese, I don't shoot snow geese type of, if you have the opportunity, you're going to pull the trigger on one.
Absolutely.
So it was cool when he was telling me that story.
So which one do you prefer to eat more, the snow or the Canadian?
I prefer spec the best out of all of them in my mind, but.
Well, I guess you could get all three of them up there, but how do you cook them?
I smoke anything wild game wise. I either smoke it, or I cube it up and I cook it with I saute it with like onions and mushrooms type of thing.
I take my Canada geese and I cut them in strips and make jerky out of them. Put the teriyaki sauce on them. I love goose jerky.
Yeah, and everybody, we have some guys here that make it into sausage, that kind of stuff, but I was raised on it. Some people are like, oh, Canada goose is terrible, snow geese is terrible. I don't know, I was raised on it, so it all just tastes like food to me,
Yeah. I definitely put mine in salt water to get as much of the blood out of it as I can for a couple of days, and then I turn it into jerky.
That's the same thing I do. Actually, even like deer back straps or whatever, the inside deer loins on it. Even those, I soak them in salt water. I don't know. I soak everything in salt water that I shoot. So it's one of those things that I don't know. I don't even know what it tastes like without doing it, just because it's how I do it. So you know.
So Jay asks us a question, and again, I know he's going to Arkansas, so I'm pretty sure when he asks this question, it's going to be for the specs. But he says, has anybody ever used them in flooded rice that's very shallow?
Yep. Yeah, we actually have on our, I believe it's on our website. If not, I can get it there. I was just in Arkansas down at the Stuckart
Calling contest?
the calling contest down there last weekend. And I actually have 4-foot wires that you then have 3-foot of stake. So people have them in flooded rice, that kind of stuff to get them up. And then the guys that are hunting dry fields can actually raise them up, kind of like a long stake on a sock. You can raise them up and get underneath them that way too. So,
is that any difference in ordering them? Is that like when you order them, does it say stake?
Well, they all come with a standard 2-foot stake.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. The 4-foot stake you'd have to order separate, which I don't know. A lot of this stuff where you're kind of making it up as you go, and we don't know. Let me just try to pull it up here on my computer and see. I know you're not going to be able to see it, but
yeah, you probably got back
there.
admin support.
What's that?
I said you probably got admin back login credentials.
Yeah, I do. But
he says he's got a super duper password, and it's not Decoy. So don't even try his password. It's not Decoy, and it's not Decoy.
It might just be password. It might just be password. Let me look and see if I have them on here. I'm not even positive if I do, but a lot of this stuff, I don't see them on there. A lot of this stuff, I didn't even know 4-foot wire was a thing for people until they were asking. So the actual website, it goes to my mom. She does a lot of the behind the scenes work on the accounting side of things and shipping and a lot of that kind of stuff. Like I said, we're 100% family business, so everybody's touching a different part of it. I got my brother and his wife, everybody's helping box and that kind of stuff. When you get a big order and you got to get the stuff out there, you just do what you do to make it happen. But what I was going to say is, like, the phone numbers on here or whatever, it's our personal cell phones. We're that small of a company that if you ever have a problem, the email address, we're the ones reading it. We have a pro staff on there that you can apply for. Literally, it's one of us that gets on and approves or denies pro staff and that. And so it's literally, if somebody needs something, you're talking to us, basically, is what I'm getting at.
So he says he can use the 2-foot and the 4-foot ones because it's a pit and it's dry around the pit. So what he's saying, right, Jay, is basically, contact them and they probably definitely could get you hooked up. Y'all take
our email's on there. Yep, you can hit us up right there on email and it goes right to us. So it's literally us doing it. And when we get the wire and we excuse me, we end up to ship something 4-foot long is crazy expensive. So what we end up doing is we bend it in a horseshoe, basically, and it's bendable wire though, so literally you can just straighten it right back out. So we end up shipping it in a 2-foot box instead of a 4-foot box, because if you try to ship a 4-foot box anywhere, it's like 3 times as much money. So
shipping is
But depending on where
crazy.
you're at, what's that?
I say shipping is crazy at times.
Oh, it's nuts.
I literally got a package this afternoon, and I opened the package. It was an empty box, and I'm like, the item fell out, and I'm like, the guy brought the box up to the front door, knowing it was empty, and then took a picture and said, here's your delivery. How do we do? And I'm like, you literally conceded the box is empty.
So that probably means you were on the bad list, and that was your Christmas present.
Hey, it's going to be cold around here when Christmas comes, so cold might not be a bad thing.
Maybe it was warm air.
Well, I can tell you it wasn't nothing in it. So
Right.
I got pulled up here on the contact, which it has the email address and you can put in here, and it also sends it. I think that's how I reached out to you before, but
Right.
it says y'all on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. So
Yeah, I don't even have that up to date. I got TikTok also out there too that I do a lot on, but it's one of those things that, yeah, we're on all that stuff. I need to add a TikTok thing on there too, I guess.
yeah, so people can.
Look at you proofreading my website for me.
Hey, I'm not
all helps.
proofreading. I'm not proofreading. I might can make bits and pieces out of it, but you don't want me proofreading anything. I will
Right.
I will read over something misspelled. It looks good to me.
That's kind of how I am.
Zach, which it shows on here Zachary, but Zach commented. He said goose chili. Now he is a big time goose hunter also. So Zach, I know y'all run a lot of silhouettes too. So I know that's a pretty cool idea here. Seeing this top down, like he said, man, you can buy the regular Canadian geese and then have the same on the other side for like a snow, or a speck. You getting 2 decoys for the price
Right.
of one, and that is a pretty good selling point.
Yep, it's got a snow and a Canada on the other side.
Especially for
And
the
then
people that
literally,
travel.
what's that?
For the people that travel, like the snow. I'm not gonna say snow people, but the people that hunt snow geese, they literally start in one state and they just follow them birds all the way down. They're just constantly following them birds, and then when you got something like this, you literally can flip it and hunt specks the next day
Absolutely.
with what you got in your
Yep, and
trailer.
actually we took, I went up and hunted, first time I ever went to Canada to hunt, and I traded a guy some decoys for going with him hunting up there or whatever, and I want to say we put, I think 30 dozen of the horizontals and to a back of a Ford Explorer and hauled them up to Canada with us that way. So yeah, they're compact.
Canada's on the list to hunt too. I told my wife I got 41 species. We're about halfway, but Canada is definitely on the list. And lastly, it will be that Alaska trip for that king eider. But that's probably going to be the last one there, because the airplane ride and then the little stump jumper to the little island. That's
Right.
going to be a hard duck to get.
I forget one of the shows I was at, and I think it was I want to say it was a Delta show, but don't hold me to it. But there was some guides there for that, and they were, talking about it and all that kind of stuff. That looks like a blast, but yeah, like you said, by the time you go on that plane trip and then you get on the bush plane to get wherever you're going, and it definitely would be an experience.
Yeah, you call it the bush plane because them people that usually take them planes are out in the bush. I call them stump jumper planes. But I gotta wait too, because like you said, I got 2 kids, and them little stump jumper single engine duct tape held together airplanes. I kind of got at least have the kids out of the house. So if the plane crashes in Antarctica or the Arctic Sea or the wherever up there and we freeze to death, the kids have got to at least be grown. So,
Right.
but yeah,
Yeah, that's the thing too. I mean, I got with my kids and being 10 and 14, um, it's kind of interesting, when you're young, you kind of think about, yeah, we're gonna go out and we got to kill limits every time, and we always got to do that kind of stuff. And you start getting older, and you got your kids, and you're like, I'm just happy if they shoot a bird, let
absolutely.
alone worrying about limits. And so it's just a different generation and that kind of stuff, and the goals of each hunting trip change. You know,
Yeah.
um,
So there's my two. Obviously, this was a few years ago. I got one that's fixing
right.
to start driving, so I'm in that whole different man. I'm not even ready for it. But this year, little man is going with me to Arkansas, and I, I hope he pulls the trigger on something. That's all. That's all I'm hoping for.
How old is he?
He's 11.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think my boy shot his. I always have the picture with me at the shows there, but he shot his first Canada goose at 9, and literally, it's one of those things that the guys that shoot the cacklers and the lessers and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it had a big 6 foot wingspan on it, type of thing. So it was all he could do to hardly hold the bird up, let alone um, carry it for too far, that type of thing. But yeah, it's a good time.
A lot of people don't know how big them birds are.
Right.
You see them in the park, you see them there, but when you pull their wings out and they got a 6 foot wingspan, that's a big bird.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're tanks with wings, is what they are.
Well, that's like in the videos and stuff. You watch a guy, like, if you shoot one and it's coming down and they stick their arm out like they're going to catch it, and it's like, man, you
Dislocate your
go
shoulder.
grabbing 15 pounds or so, you're breaking your arm.
Absolutely, because they're falling quick too.
Right.
Yeah. So y'all sell 1 dozen, 5 dozen, and 10 dozen, right?
Yeah, and we do everything we do is customizable. If somebody wants 30 dozen, or even an LTL load or whatever, if you get higher than 10 dozen, you might as well hop on our website and see what we can do with price and
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. Because when you get to the bigger quantities, I start doing actual shipping. I try, I don't need to make money off the shipping also, type of thing.
Right.
Um, so it's one of those things. We're $12 flat rate shipping. I think our 5 dozen, I want to say, is $30, and our 10 dozen, I think, is $60 to ship. And if you've ever shipped anything, we're not making much money on shipping when that's the cost of that, with the weight and everything. It's just,
Right.
you know,
I hope price of fuel goes down, because when diesel fuel goes down, it seems like the rest of the prices go down too.
right?
Diesel
Yeah, I
diesel.
drive a diesel truck, and when I bought that thing, diesel fuel was less than gas,
Mm-hmm.
and it seemed like no sooner did I buy it, diesel fuel was then now more, and I'm like, well, we're not getting any richer off this thing, that's for sure.
No, I understand that. I mean, I got a gas truck and a diesel truck, and majority of the time I take the gas. That's $1 cheaper.
Absolutely.
But then my gas truck's got manual windows and no carpet when the diesel's fully loaded. And when I do drive the
Right.
diesel, I'm driving the diesel and I'm like, man, this is nice. This is real nice. I'll drive it more often. And then when I go to fill it up, it dawns on me this is the reason why I don't.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna pull the
Yeah, I
website
drive
back.
a lot of miles. What's that?
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I drive a lot of miles, and I've talked and talked about getting something that's economical, that kind of thing. But man, as much highway driving and stuff that I do, it's like, you know what, I'd rather, if I'm gonna get into a wreck or something, I'd rather be in a big old truck than, you know, some little fuel efficient thing.
Yeah. So here is the regular silhouettes that y'all offer. Do y'all
Yeah.
offer any like six flat, like six verticals and like six horizontals, or is there packages like that too, or is it
Yeah,
12 and
there's
12?
on that last page, we got it for Canada geese on there.
Mm-hmm.
I actually here just recently had a couple guys reach out for combo packs with specs, and it's not on my website yet. You know, it's this time of year, you're so busy doing everything that I can't keep up with everything, but we do combo packs. The specs was a special request by a guy, but like I said, our email's on there if you have any special requests, that kind of thing. Since we handle everything, it's just literally boxing something different type of thing, you know.
And I like that because, like I said, you know, obviously I'm in South Carolina, Georgia. They about like us. You start getting out around Florida, Louisiana, the birds start picking back up. You start getting up a little bit higher in North Carolina towards the Outer Banks, where a lot of farming birds are. There's a lot of birds, but around us, there's not as many birds. And when you can get a bundle of vertical and horizontal, that's a pretty cool deal.
Yeah, we do have that for on the website. I know it's on there for um, the Canada geese side of things,
Right.
but you know, and we have snows and specks, but primarily I'm chasing Canada geese is what my whole area here that we have the most of. So, you know, a lot of that kind of stuff is afterthoughts when people say, "Hey, can you do this?" And yep, let me get it taken care of, type of thing, you know, and go that route. So,
And that is one cool thing about, you know, the family owned kind of business. Like if somebody calls you and you know somebody's going to pick up the phone versus, you know, a big business down the road where you're going to get some kind of automated telephone answering service and it's hard to get somebody on the phone.
yeah, that's I was actually I keep bringing up shows, but I was at a show here middle of summer, and I had one of our competitors come up and ask me how import was going with me and that kind of stuff, and you know, it makes you proud to go, you know, it actually doesn't do anything to me because everything's, you know, right here, United States type of thing. So it's, you know, we don't have that problem. But
And
actually,
that's
that
mm-hmm.
last picture you were just on there with those Canada geese, I need to update those photos because that's our old style, which had a lot thinner necks on them,
Mm-hmm.
and there was still room on the sheet. So now we've bulked up the necks and that to make them a little more sturdy, and so the necks are quite a bit thicker than those pictures that you just had on there. But
Yeah, and that was a mixed in right there. That's
yeah,
horizontal and vertical on that one.
yep. And those ones that are on snows, it's also one of those things that um, people don't realize. That's just some flip to snow and some flip to Canada. You know, it's um, they're reversible. You know,
Yeah.
that's hard to. No matter how many times you tell people, it still surprises them when you flip them over and they go, "Oh heck, they're reversible." You know, pictures don't do it justice.
So y'all got hats and hoodies and all that on the website too.
Yep.
Pretty cool hats. I saw earlier when I had you zoomed up a little bit bigger. I saw you that you had one of these on.
Yeah, I think it's that one on the upper right. There's the one I'm actually wearing, I believe.
You can't beat a Richardson hat.
No,
I
that's the
mean,
only thing that's the only thing that's not made in the United States for us is our apparel, and when we do shirts, we buy the brand we buy is U.S. cotton. It says, and it's like, well, at least it's, you know, whatever. Otherwise, if I try to do made in the USA apparel, then it's at a price point that's not competitive really anymore because I still got to slap my logos and stuff on there. And, you know, that duck camo there, is that in the bottom? Yeah. That thing is about the hottest camo pattern you can get right now. That thing shows. This last show I was just at, I don't know, I think I brought 20 plus hats of that duck camo, and they were sold out in like a day and a half. They were gone. And but we're also one of those companies that's smaller, so our logos, unless you hunt with our stuff, you maybe didn't even hear of it or know who we are or anything like that. So they're not buying it because it's a trendy name type of thing right now, and hopefully someday. But that camo pattern, it sells pretty quick. That's for sure.
That old school camo is making a comeback.
Man, it is.
See, the problem is these younger boys don't know nothing about that old school camo. The only reason we wore that old school camo in the 80s is because that's
It
all
was
we
your
had.
dad's.
That's all we
Right.
had. And we got it down there at the Army surplus store.
Yep. And probably it was your old man's before that, and they gave you here. This is what you're wearing.
Yep, exactly. I want to go back to the shirts. I like the logo because it literally shows, the decoy. Like it's a reversible decoy, and that's a pretty cool logo.
Yeah, that was the mindset of it. Is it's supposed to look like a even that one when I drew that thing, you draw it up and then you have the family go over it and you make tweaks to it and that type of thing. But it's supposed to be like the snow goose is on top there, and then the Canada goose is its shadow type of thing. So it's supposed to look like a mirror, even though it's corn stalks and cattails type of thing. And yeah, that's just what we went with.
So, is there any more shows you're going to this year?
Not this year, no.
Seemed like y'all
No,
must
but
have went to a bunch last year.
man, we did. And this one here that we just went to, of course, that was over Thanksgiving. And so now you're giving up the family time at Thanksgiving, that type of thing, to go and get your name out there. But heck, I think my old man and we ended up eating Thanksgiving dinner at McDonald's because it was the only thing open in town. And I can tell you that's the only time I've had McDonald's on Thanksgiving.
Oh man, I know my buddy's listening. He don't comment much, and I know he's listening. He don't like McDonald's neither.
No,
He
no,
his thing is.
I mean, I don't want to bash any company online or nothing, but I'm just saying I've never ate McDonald's for Thanksgiving dinner.
he,
We're a tight knit family, so we always every holiday we're sitting around the table together, type of thing.
At least when you went to the show, you didn't gain any weight for going back for doubles and triples
Yeah,
of Thanksgiving. I mean, there is a
yeah, that
plus side.
tryptophan or whatever it is, it didn't kick in. It was
Exactly.
either that or gas station food, and we're like, well, at least we can go sit down inside of there.
See, I could tell my buddy that the McRib is just like a snow goose. It's just meat, mystery meat, covered in some kind of sauce.
I don't know about all that, fella.
Oh man. So you said that you're gonna have some ducks coming out. So obviously, people following along on social media will get first
Right.
hands of that. Do y'all have any newsletters that go out on emails and stuff like that?
We don't. I've been actually talking to a couple different marketing guys that literally everything we've done is strictly just sharing stuff on social media.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked that, I don't know what I don't know. And talking to some of these marketing guys, I met a good dude down there in Arkansas here last weekend. He's working on some stuff for me, but even sending out text messages and email bursts and all that kind of stuff, never done it. So we're missing the boat on there. I just haven't found the right help yet. I've thrown money at marketers before that do, like Google ads and that kind of stuff, but didn't get much return out of that investment type of thing. And I'm waiting to get hooked up with. I got two different guys right now that they seem like it's going to be pretty promising. Mm-hmm. So anxiously seeing how that's going to go with that kind of stuff and see I like if I'm making money off of you, you're making money off of me type of thing, not
Right.
just here's $5,000, see what happens type of. I'd rather have everyone have a little bit of skin in the game rather than just throw money at something to see if it sticks.
Exactly. I my main job I do is IT, so I've been in IT for a long time, and dealing with trying to get email and stuff like that. The biggest thing is to stay out of the spam folders, and it doesn't take long for people to get emails, and then they end up flagging them, which then in return flags it for other people. And that's the biggest drawback to email is you gotta
Right.
land in the inbox. If you don't land in the inbox, there ain't nobody else that's gonna see you.
Right. It's just like these, doing podcasts and all that. I actually um, wasn't real comfortable doing
Right.
podcasts. It just there's always so much other stuff to do, type of thing. And uh, my boy, I was talking to him about a couple, and he's like, "You just need to do it, Dad." He watches YouTube and all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, "Well, I can talk anybody's ear off, but sitting here staring at my phone to talk, it's just seemed weird." I did the Marsh Boys podcast here a couple weeks ago, and I told him, I go, well, other than a few ums and that kind of stuff, I guess it's fine.
Hey, you can't get much southern than South Carolina. We get maybe down in Louisiana you can get a little bit more southern, but I don't pronounce half my words right half the time. My wife fusses at me, so I mean,
Right,
I'm having a blast doing it, so that's all that matters.
right.
Hey Jeff, I just see you popped in to say, hey Jeff, I'm glad you in here because Jeff is a big snow goose hunter. Jeff, let this man show you what he's got. Show that decoy again. It's gonna blow your mind, Jeff.
For the guys that do a lot of snow goose hunting, it's got a snow goose on one side, and then you take it, it's got the neck. So you take it and you got it in a feeding position. So when the birds are above you, they're looking down on this instead of a vertical silhouette that's just sitting straight up and down. It's sitting horizontal and it's up off the ground. So it puts a nice shadow down, that kind of stuff. And then literally you take that decoy, you flip it over, and then now you have a Canada goose on the other side there.
What do you think about that,
So you get
Jeff?
you get two decoys for the price of one, $64.99 a dozen. For the guys that don't have the birds finishing over silhouettes and still hauling full bodies and that. I mean, obviously nobody's ever going to get rid of full bodies, but they bulk up that spread for cheap, add movement, that kind of thing.
So, just out in Nebraska, so it's probably snowing out there where he's at too. But I know
He's
that
probably
when
living this. He's got the same thing going I do, I bet.
absolutely, and I know when snow goose season comes around, he was talking about like what you were talking about earlier. Them guys go out there and they have to set their poles up well before it ever freezes, and he's talked about that before, having to go set it up before it freezes, and
Yep.
that so there is a delay. So we are live. You're in a whole nother time zone. So as me talking, there's a little bit of a delay. So we don't sometimes talk over each other. That's one thing about live. But there is like a 40-second delay by the time Jeff sees it. So when he comments, it's about 40 seconds off. But he says that's a great idea for a decoy. But Jeff, he was talking about the corn stalks out in the fields where you could take that and then put it right into the corn stalk, the rod right into the corn stalk, and you're not even having to drive it down into the ground.
Right. With it being horizontal, you try that with a windsock that's full of wind, it rips it right out. Pull up that
All right.
field thing again
Yep,
if you got it there.
I do.
Only because it's something, totally different. So Jeff, if you look at that picture there, that's full bodies on that side. And then that's the wind socks over there. Up front's the vertical silhouettes. And then all those ones that look like feeding geese down the middle, that's my horizontal ones there. And they just flip over like that there. Just
And
adds a different spin to things.
I mean, it's like it never gets old seeing it because there's nothing that I know of in the market like this yet. Which when you come up with something good, somebody's going to try to copy it.
Oh, it'll happen. I already got one out there now that he's he's got his toes dipped in, and we haven't done anything that type of thing, but we see it.
Right.
I mean, I know when if my patent's getting infringed on.
Right.
So it's one of those things you got to deal with it, as it goes or whatever. It's is what it is.
Jeff, and I know you coming in, and we've been talking about it. You can get, they sell horizontal and vertical silhouettes, and you can get them package deals like so. You can get 6 vertical, 6 horizontal, stuff like that, package deals. And he has the Canadians with the snow goose, the speckled belly with the snow goose. So, and then
Yep.
you had the third
And
one
a
with,
spec Canada too that
yep.
we do have a spec Canada also. And then if he's never, I'm just assuming that most people haven't heard of me. So even our vertical silhouettes, the stakes are thicker. That's kind of the big thing for us is I've used the other ones, and if they're falling off the stakes when you're walking with them, or you pull it out of the ground and it falls off the stake, ours don't fall down the stakes, so they don't slide down the stakes. So instead of getting the silhouette bags that get full of mud and buckles breaking, zippers freezing up, mice get in there, all that kind of stuff, we just put them right on carabiners and they don't fall off. So you can put, depending on the size of carabiner, you can get 3-4 dozen on a carabiner and hang them up that way.
Like you said earlier, we still got to have some, full bodies out there. But this video here shows, or photo shows, 48 full bodies versus 1,535 top down decoys. That's pretty crazy.
Yep, and I mean the silhouette boys, they already know, the the lightweight compactness of silhouettes, but adding the top down view from where the bird's looking at, the bird's eye view of it to us, that's what changed things for us. But we've been in the business for sorry, that cold weather come in. Apparently I got a cough now. But when we first come out, we had growing pains. We used to have them screen printed. Now they're digital printed. We had some ink issues in the very beginning that we had to work through. We had the matte finish wasn't as good as we wanted. So it's one of those things that literally every day, being a family business, you're always trying to improve everything you got. And so we've worked hard to do all that kind of stuff too.
So Jay asked, which I already answered it because I scrolled on the screen here, but he says, "Are those top down decoys?" Which the screen says it, but yeah, that's correct, Jeff. Top down decoys. So is there any future in flocking?
Our biggest problem there, I can't find anybody in the U.S. that flocks. Really? Everybody I've talked to, I've called the different companies. They want to do glove compartments for cars. They want to do jewelry boxes, and they want to do it by, the huge quantities. And as a family business, we can't order that kind of quantity. I mean, we're not going to sit on inventory that automobile company has type of thing. We're not that big. So in order to do the flocking, everybody, unless, somebody hears me on here and they do commercial flocking, by all means, but everything we found is overseas, and we just as a business refuse to do it. And a lot of the guys that use flocking, I've talked to a lot of them at shows. They look real good when they first come out, but you get a snow goose that is flocked and you drop it in a mud puddle or something and you ain't getting it white again, whereas the silhouette you can hose off or whatever and that kind of thing. So unfortunately, everybody's just out of town. Or out of the country, I guess.
And I got some flocked crows, and just with like what you were saying, flock wise, if you set up decoys over a period of time, that sun will bait that flock off.
Yep.
So and it gets that like dingy white velvet look to it.
Yeah, it's like anything else. I mean, the crazy thing is you got a lot of guys that buy, let's just say a $65 dozen of decoys. Well, at some point, you can't expect a dozen decoys is going to last for 30 years. I mean, it's one of those things that everything's got a shelf life on it. You're not buying inexpensive and, something that's going to, now, ours hold up. I'm not saying they don't hold up. I'm saying in general, you got to take the good with the bad, like the flock. They look great when you get them out of the box, but you know what? After a few years, you're going to have to do something to them, whether it's spray paint them or whatever. And we've contemplated on getting the flocking kits for, doing it yourself and putting those on our website. But it's like you can already buy them on Amazon or whatever. So, we just tell everybody, well, if you want it, they already sell it on Amazon type of thing.
Jeff commented and he said, I haven't seen too many people using them. That's the product that I like to use, the one that nobody else is. And that's exactly true, because like you were saying, it's snowing up there. It's going to be pushing them birds towards me. So if one bird has went over numerous fields of one type of setup decoys, and then they eventually get somewhere else and they're like, wow, we haven't seen that before. Them birds are smart. If they're flying around and say, hey, this setup looks very familiar to the last setup that shot at me, I'm not going to land there. So when they see something different, it's just like calling. When they hear something different, they're like, hey, that's different. So yes, seeing something different than somebody else just down the road is game changer.
Well, and it's being willing to try something different. If all morning you've called at flocks of Canadas and they're not coming in, you probably should try doing something different other than just going home going, well, we didn't shoot any, they didn't want to work. And it's like, well, you need to look at what you're doing and try mixing it up. Maybe move the decoys out from the blinds and that kind of thing, or set up downwind or up, just be willing to change, because the birds don't do the same thing every time. That's kind of the definition of insanity there, so you might as well try something else, see what works, and learn from every experience. And really a lot of the younger hunters, they get into the trendy side of things, but I tell you what, when you start showing them the differences of what you can do, they're still at the age where they're willing to try stuff out, that kind of stuff. And then you got the older generation, the generation above me, and all we do is full bodies for everything. But they start getting older and they're like, you know what, I can't put out 20 dozen full bodies that you're only carrying 4 if you have tail loops type of thing. And then they're like, you know what, I'm gonna try something different type of thing. And so every generation has its different reasons why they end up trying them, that kind of thing.
Right. And Jeff, I know I said it earlier. So say you out there in the field and one bird ain't decoying, you can run out there real quickly, flip them over the other way, and now you got a whole nother hunt, a whole different hunt. Yep. And like you said earlier, buy one decoy, you get the other side free.
That's just it. Yeah, and I've had guys ask, well, can you see the snow goose side when it's on the Canada? And it's like, well, the Canada's butt's white, so if they do see it at all, it's just another part of the white out there. But geese don't come walking in, they're sitting above you, so it's not even an issue really as far as that goes, and that sort of thing.
So Jeff asked, do they work best off by themselves or mixed in with full bodies for snows?
We mix everything together. It's all mixed together for us. So depending on what you're doing and who you're hunting with. I had one guy at the Indianapolis show here, and then this will be the first snow goose season coming up since him. But he's switching to a lot of his spread over to ours because he was using primarily windsocks.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at a snow goose spread or an actual feed of snow geese, they're not all facing the same direction. They're facing you can say, well, they feed going into the wind, whatever. But when you look at any sort of drone video or picture of a snow goose field where the geese are actually in it, they're facing every different direction.
That's true.
Whereas you get a big sock spread, if the wind is coming out of the north and then it hits out of the northwest a little bit, now that entire spread shakes at the same time. And, it's one of those things. And I don't know. That's what he liked about ours is they get movement. He kills birds with them, and you can put them different directions.
And I
so they
did
don't just be the same.
I did like what you pointed out, and I didn't know that. When you had it flat, the top down part, and the wind blows, it will shake like it's going up and down like that. So it's going to have movement in it, where when they're vertical and the wind blows hard, now they're going to lean.
Yep. And I had a lot of guys that I've talked to over the last few years. Everybody does things different, but I had a couple guys tell me that they put their silhouettes in at an angle. That way, when the birds are up above, they can see them. And I'm like, well, that's actually why, we did what we did. You don't have to angle your silhouette in the ground to make it to where they're able to see it from above.
Right. That makes sense. Jeff said he don't like the flock decoys in the snow. And like
I don't care for them either.
I told you at the beginning, I don't even know what snow is. We went I think 2 years without even seeing the first snow in South Carolina. But we got it this year, baby. We got some snow.
Right.
I couldn't it didn't stay on the ground, but we got snow this year.
Yeah, flock decoy. Man, if there's one snowflake within 20 miles, it's stuck to that flocking, and you can't just shake it off like you can a silhouette. Those you can just kick or whatever, and it falls right off. Whereas flocking, it's just stuck until it melts, basically.
So Jeff says, do they look good in a strong wind? Will they take a punishment and a permanent spring spread?
I mean, they are just like any other silhouette out there. They're durable plastic. They do have movement with them, that kind of thing. Generally speaking, apparently I'm going to go hoarse. Generally speaking, it's like a normal silhouette. I mean, if a wind hits it on a real windy day, there's a chance it comes out of the ground, but they don't come out of the ground like a vertical silhouette, because a vertical silhouette is actually standing up like a flag, whereas being horizontal, they cut the wind better.
I got you. You got more videos on social media too.
Yeah, I got a lot on TikTok there. That's probably, and Facebook, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. But there's actually one on YouTube that I don't do hardly any. There's only like, I don't know, maybe 5 videos on YouTube, but I actually have a video on YouTube where people ask me how do they handle the wind. And on the YouTube video, I have a spring base, a windsock, a full body, and ours. I think there's 4 there, but when the wind blows, you see the full body scooting around, and it ends up tipping over, and the windsock's just going nuts out there, and ours is just kind of a nice little bounce to them type of deal.
It's on a Sunday afternoon ride.
Yep. If you've ever hunted with windsocks on an extreme windy day, man, those things they're loud and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, you kill birds with them. Don't get me wrong. You kill birds with any of it,
Right. Well, I think we covered most of the topics. You did ask me originally, like, how long you want to talk for? I was like, 45 minutes. We're an hour and 20 minutes in.
There you go.
So now
that just must mean I'm full of it, right?
I don't know. I'm pretty full of it too. Now you we're a couple of days short on Thanksgiving meals. You know, unlike me, I didn't go to no show, so I'm more full of it than you are.
Right.
I'm so full of it, I'm inside of a boat. That's how deep it is over here.
I can't. It's on a small screen on my phone there,
Okay,
so I can't even hardly see what your setup is. But
a John boat. My desk is a John boat.
there you go.
So half of it's here that's on the screen, and and like I said, later you can go back and look at it. But this is half of a
Oh,
boat.
there it's it.
My computers and stuff is on that. But the front of the boat is actually mounted to the wall over there, and my plan is it's a 50-50 wall display. The other half, it's got a life jacket and some fishing rod and stuff like that from my grandpa, and it's just like a memory kind of
Sure.
deal. He loved fishing, and it's
Right.
a memory kind of deal. But I plan once the wall gets full, which is pretty close. I'm going to be doing like the dead mounts on the front of a boat. You know, when you come up to the boat ramp and you put them there, well, it's going to have mounts like that, and it's already mounted to the wall. So
Sure. So
I
your taxidermist likes you, is what you're saying?
we got we got a pretty good connection. Me and him, we don't discuss the price with the wife.
Right. What I'm trying to figure out is how'd you talk the wife into letting you put a boat in her living room?
Nah, man, this is the man cave part. This is the man cave part.
Right.
Nah, my wife came on last week. Last week was my 100th episode of doing lives, and she's my CFO, my chief financial officer. Um, she she's she's like whatever. Long as
Right.
you out in the woods, you need to be out in the woods, and so I love the outdoors, and she knows it.
Yeah. Does she go out hunting with you or no?
Absolutely not. There ain't no
No.
way. I got tied weed jackets, the heated ones. There ain't no way I would get her out there in that cold. She would be. We both would be miserable.
There you go.
Now during dove season, she does sometimes come out there and sit with me during dove season, but she's a long sleeve person all the time, even in the summertime.
Right. Well,
And
dove season, you can talk, you can do whatever you want. They're either flying by you or they're not.
you know, she would not want to live up there with you in the snow. She would not be a happy camper.
I'm not even sure I want to live in the snow. It's it's always something.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Anything else you want to talk about before we call it a night?
I think we probably covered it. If anybody has any questions, they can hop on our website at topdowndecoys.com there, and that goes right to me and family business. So one of us will see it and we'll answer your questions, whatever you got. And we've talked about different lines and that kind of stuff. If anybody's got ideas or whatever too, we've talked about doing custom orders for people, that kind of stuff, because everything's so cut and straight. So we've talked about doing different things, and I got a guy that's wanting different styles of decoys, different breeds of decoys, that kind of stuff, or species, I guess. I don't know if it's breeds or species, but um, that he's wanting, and so I'm trying to work out something with that too. But yeah, just give us a holler.
It'd be interesting to see some top down um, doves. That would be pretty
We
interesting.
actually we actually have them, but
Really? The
that's one
top
of those
secret.
markets that you look at, and I have a box of them that we made when we first got started, and shot birds with them. Got my limit of birds with them, but it's one of those things when you look at what you can buy out there already, and then you look at those and you're like, well, can I even make a buck off the things? So
Well,
we've never put it out there. Our patent covers the horizontal decoy. We have a utility patent and a design patent on it. So it's for any huntable species that's out there is what our patent covers. So
so I know a lot of people that dove hunt also Oh man, my brain went dead. Come on, Randall. Silos, pigeons. Thank you.
Crows,
Whew.
pigeons. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. Like pigeons. You know, a crow's definitely bigger than a dove, but I mean,
Right.
from the sky, being, you know, having one bigger the size of a crow, and it be a dove on the backside would probably help see them doves. The doves would see it even more.
Right. Yeah, we've actually. I'm not positive yet, but we've talked about when we launch the ducks. We've talked about doing like a mallard on one side and a Canada goose on the other, and doing a jumbo mallard.
Mm-hmm.
Or I've had you put a drake and a hen or whatever. I got the area of the country that you hunt is what kind of duck you want on it. I got some that
Right.
want gadwalls. I got some that want mallards and pintails, and so it all depends on what you get into, type of thing. But I mean, a gadwall will come right into a mallard decoy. I've never had a problem bringing gadwalls into mallards or pintails, even as far as that goes.
Right. And you know, that's like you said right there. What fits your area is different than other people. Because you know, our
Yep.
state bird, duck, is a wood duck. I mean, we got wood
Right.
ducks everywhere. And you know, you talk to people in certain parts of the country, and they were like, "Man, I would do anything for a wood duck." And
Right.
you know, same way we are with like a cinnamon teal. Oh man, I would love a cinnamon teal, and people in California are like, man, them are like trash
Dime
birds
a
to us,
dozen.
you know? Yeah.
Right.
So it is
Yeah,
all
we get a lot of wood ducks here. I mean, we get a lot of ducks in general, but I actually have. It's crazy to me. We hunt everything, and I'll go to some of these shows, and you'll ask them, "Yeah, goose hunt." I think you and I talked about it earlier, and they're like, "Nope, only duck," or "Nope, only deer." And it's like, I don't know. It's like right now, we got snow on the ground, the lake's froze up. The only Canada geese that are around are going to be sitting on the river, and if you don't have fields right on the river, you're not getting into those, unless you're at a big geothermal pond or something like that at one of the distribution centers.
mm,
But so this weekend, instead of going goose hunting, I'll be out deer hunting this weekend, because our places that we normally goose hunt are froze up, and we don't have birds around. So it's you got to do what you got to do.
yeah. We're in between the splits, and you know it's right at holiday season. And you were talking about kids earlier. I'm in between the one kid's starting basketball and the other one's doing parades. So this whole weekend will be basketball, parades. It's that time of the year.
Yep.
So
Yeah, mine are both in basketball right now, and then they do the travel baseball, travel softball. Everything is just so extreme anymore that my wife and I, during the summer months and spring months, we're never in the same city. One's got a hotel in one town and the other one's got a hotel somewhere else, and it's just crazy.
take vacations around whatever events going on.
Right, your vacation's in a folding chair sitting on the side of a baseball or softball field. It's usually how it goes.
Hey, maybe they will remember it when it's time to pick our nursing home.
Right. Hopefully, I don't ever have to go in one of those.
I probably won't make it.
Right.
Me and you are eating gas station food. We're not gonna make the nursing home.
It's roller dogs for dinner.
uh, well, I appreciate it, and I know talking to you earlier, y'all were getting food. Hopefully, that food's still warm by the time you get to it.
Oh, sure. We'll have her warmed up by the time I get home, but
I heard
that's
that.
I didn't read the Eastern time zone type of thing. So yeah, it's just literally food come out to the table, and you would text my dad, and he texts me and says, "Hey, he just said you got a 10-minute warning or whatever," and I'm like, "What?" And oh, okay, we're in different time zones here, so yep. I'm like, "Well, you just grab a to-go box for my food. I gotta get out of here."
Well,
Luckily, we're in different cars, so that worked out.
I greatly appreciate you coming on. I mean, I learned a lot tonight, and you know, like you said earlier about staying local and helping people in the United States. this is the reason I created my YouTube channel. You know, South Carolina ain't the biggest waterfowl, but
Right.
people travel, people see stuff. I learn new stuff. You know, I'm glad to have you on because I'm learning, but on the other hand, you never know who might see something. Like, we're making videos, we're having a good time, and you never know who you might watch or hear or anything else. So I appreciate you
Sure.
coming on.
Absolutely.
So until next week, y'all, I appreciate every single one of you. Y'all start doing some exercising because we just came out of Thanksgiving. We're fixing to go into Christmas. So now is the time to get them, you know, in between. So until then, I
Got to make sure those
appreciate
bibs fit.
it. I just loosened the strap a little bit.
Right.
So, all right, well, I appreciate it. And then I'll see y'all next Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Y'all be safe. And here's a word from our sponsor, Matthew Knight with Satura Investors out of Charlotte. There's the information. The link to his website is scrolling across the banner down at the bottom, and it's also in the description. Today's episode is about helping business owners and working professionals like you who share a passion for the outdoors shooting sports, zeroing them in to their long-term financial goals. So if you need any information or contact or any other questions, contact Matthew. Also go check out Salt Creek Ammo. This triple curl TSS is some of the best TSS I have ever shot. This is for waterfowl edition. It's made for waterfowl. So if you're going to shoot a species that you've been chasing for a long time, don't use no cheap ammo. You pay good money to go on a trip. You got great guns. Don't cheap out on cheap ammunition. This TSS is amazing. It's got number 7s, number 8s, and he has number 9s. So go check out saltcreekammo.com. Here you will find any kind of ammo you're looking for. He has custom loads, TSS in 10 gauge, 12 gauge, 20 gauge, low pressure ammunition. You got predator ammunition, turkey ammunition, anything you're looking for, give Keith a call. Also to the channel, Kicks Industries, most people will know them as Kick Chokes, has came on board, and I have done a bunch of series lately on waterfowl choke tubes, turkey choke tubes, deer choke tubes. So go check out Kick's website for all of the chokes that can fit your guns. Flint Ridge Hauling Service LLC has partnered up with the channel. It is your go-to provider for all your hauling needs. They are not just any hauling service. They are an active DOT interstate hotshot hauling provider. Flint Ridge Service LLC prides itself in its reliable transportation services. This team ensures that your cargo is delivered safely and on time no matter the distance. Whether you need to transport goods across the county or state line, they have the capacity and the expertise to meet your hauling needs. Equipped with a smooth riding 40-foot air ride equipped trailer and a max hauling capacity of 20,000 pounds, there's no load too big or too small that they can't handle. Look no further than Flint Ridge Hauling Service LLC.